like...
Mm-hmm.
It's a great...
taxes do suck, but then you also get a massive house for...
Yeah, that's
all
true.
those balance out.
Do you want to get in on that? Get that up close to you and
Get in on this sweet action.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Stop wiggling it.
I mean, yeah, you can wiggle it.
You're like, all right, Matt, you can go sit in the car.
No, please, I just quit smoking.
I don't have any like fun speech panagrams to.
Yeah, no, I just quit smoking 12 days ago. Please frustrate me.
Oh my goodness.
I'll throw you
12
out the window
days ago.
Yeah, no, it's been easy.
Yeah?
It's been good. I just got off Chantix because
Okay.
Chantix drove me crazy. So
Yeah.
you're good where you are. If you want to wear if anybody wants to wear the headphones, there's a spare pair there. They're brand new. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want
It's totally your call. Yeah. Yeah.
Like having the monitor for some reason.
It's easier that way. It's good, nice and easy. So I just forgot your last name, and I actually didn't know your last name because you guys don't share a last name, even though you're not married.
No, not married.
Not married, but living together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sinners!
Don't tell Jesus.
I know, that's terrible.
My last name is Harmon.
Okay,
He's
that's right.
Davis.
So I'm with Kate Harmon and Matt Davis today. Two fantastic people who do all kinds of fun stuff that you probably go to. More than likely.
I'd hope so.
Well, everybody went to what the food trucks.
Actually, it was only 200 people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Was it? I was gonna say
There have been some haters online lately, and one of them said 20,000, more like 200. And we were like, well, you obviously weren't there.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah. It's like let's go check the pictures and make sure that there were that many people in front of the White House. Seriously, like we can count the number, but that is a good question though. How do you keep count of that? Because 20,000 people in Penn Park is insane.
I've actually got an answer for
He
this.
does.
Yeah.
I'm among other things, a data guy.
Okay.
So there's actually this rigorous spreadsheet that I keep of sorts that we have kind of time series data from previous years, and we have some of the information from trucks. So some of the trucks have been there every single year this event has happened. And so what we do is we kind of calculate what their sales were, and then every year we keep collecting that, and we see if it goes up or down, and then we take that across a couple of the trucks that are there every time to see if they agree, and that's how we kind of guess it based on some of the years that we've had. Like we clicked for the first couple times.
Oh, that had to be rough. With like a ref clicker.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I still have a whole box of them in the garage.
Oh no, that's intense.
Oh yeah, it's rough.
That seems, I was gonna say that it's really cool that you take the data in like that, because that is a very good way to ferret out the information. And yeah, as long as the ratio of cost or purchase price isn't going up and then giving you a false value. God.
Yeah, which is why we look at the same trucks
Yeah,
and then actually
makes
do
sense.
kind of a grocery cart of them.
Well, that's good. What I was gonna say, nobody even said anything about it, and I'm just a cute little podcast here in York, and I didn't hear anything about it. All I know is that Heather, who will eventually be on the podcast, told me that it was the most insane thing that I've ever missed.
Heather is a What the Food Trucks / Crocodile Dog Marketing super fan. So we hit this roadblock a lot, and it is very frustrating to say the least. I actually come from a newspaper background, and I do marketing and social media and all that stuff. So we actually, it was in the paper, it was on social media, it was on all York event-based calendars. We did not have any newspaper ads because they cost a lot of money. We had posters around town. We had rack cards. If you're looking for your phone, it's up above your head.
Oh, yeah. I just want to make sure it wasn't going to vibrate against anything weird. Go ahead.
So we do a lot of that, yet we still hear from people who did not hear that it was going on. And instead of the easy reaction for a lot of us who plan events in York City, which is to go, well, why the hell didn't you know? We try to approach it as, well, then how do you get your information? And we have not necessarily gotten a good answer from the people that haven't heard about it, so we're not quite sure how some people have not heard about it. It is always Labor Day Sunday, so when I was being snarky to someone online, I told them, mark it now for 2018, 2019, 2020. Do you get the gist?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to say, if it's not a floating date, which I have a couple of events that I go to every year that have a 1 or 2 week window advance or,
Right.
Later. if it's the same day, yeah, you can't really miss it. But
one of the things that we were trying to do is have more money for advertising. And we actually, this is a conversation we've been having a lot. The three of us that run this event, it's me and Matthew, and then Matthew's business partner / uncle, Brian Dudley. And we actually have very few sponsors for What the Food Trucks.
Yeah.
Very few sponsors. Maybe only a couple, maybe $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $5,000 total in sponsorship money. And that usually goes towards glasses. It goes toward the free shuttles that bring people into town. It goes towards Sprint stuffing glasses and having cornholes and the stage. So it goes to very specific parts of What the Food Trucks. We've been applying for a lot of grant money through the York County Convention and Visitors Bureau. As well as other possible ways to get grant money to actually fund advertising. Because in a shocking development, What the Food Trucks doesn't make a bunch of money. We're not rolling in dough. We do it because we believe in it and we believe in York. So the money to do the things, to put it on billboards, and we don't have it.
Right. Well, no, and that was one of my major questions is the benefit more for the fact that the community is going, like, people are going to come in and all the food trucks, all the folks from York County and surrounding different, even guys up from Maryland or whatever, wherever, that they're going to not even make a profit, but not even make a huge profit, but the benefit is for them, and it's not going, like, that seems to be a almost like a marketing spur here, that when an event goes on, it's usually heavy-handed towards whoever's throwing the event to be the victor by the time all the books are settled and all that. And it seems like you're not taking that aim. It actually is a community event.
And don't get me wrong, the trucks make money.
Yeah, no, and
they make the money.
Yeah, they're bringing you food. They're bringing microbrews. I saw one thing that blew my mind. I saw one of the trucks was doing screen printing off the back of it. That's
that was
pretty
the
rad.
Distillery,
Was
Faber.
It? Yeah.
And they're new to our events. So recent changes in the PCLB laws have allowed us to bring distilleries back into the fold.
Oh.
So they were fun. We actually got some shirts made. I don't know where it is because it got lost in the move, but it's somewhere.
Well, that's what you get from yeah. I was gonna say. So you threw a huge event and then you moved immediately
2 days
after.
later.
Yeah.
We're crazy people.
You guys are. That's too much. But I was gonna say, to have roughly 20,000 people come in and be a huge benefit. Yeah, not having billboards up, not doing all that, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But you would think that there's got to be a way that word of mouth, more than anything, is to know that 20,000 people in an area that has the county's population is what, something right around
440, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say 440. That's a solid amount, and word of mouth, definitely spreads. But even with that, like, with your marketing background, do you do the Facebook events and all that to, like, do you work around their algorithms and all that? Because it seems like they're trying to get you
Facebook's algorithms.
Yeah.
They change it every other week. It seems like
annoying.
We do our best to give best practices to our vendors and our trucks to encourage them to share in a way that benefits us and the attendees. You could throw money in boosting Facebook posts, and but there are some people who don't use social media, and when they say, well, we didn't hear about it because we're not on Facebook, touche.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I was gonna say, logically, age group wise, you would think that's not a true statement, but no, that I can't imagine there being a very, very specific audience that comes to What the Food Trucks. It spans everything, every budgetary concern, like, doesn't matter, every kind of person is more than likely represented there, so you really don't have the ability to do targeting, like super targeting.
And somebody asked us about radio this year, and we've done radio for other events before, but the way that Matthew sets up our ticket sales is that you have to say how you heard about us, and no one's ever clicked radio. So we're not going to keep spending. I mean, if we had free grant money, sure, maybe, but if it doesn't reap any benefits, it's not worth spending even grant money on.
I was going to say, if statistically that's a long thing of mine, but the radio is generally dead, realistically, because this stuff comes up. Because you take this is one podcast in York. There's surely more than one, and it's not just me, but I know other auspicious human beings are trying to get the word out and trying to do that thing, and you just create a little net, and the we weave little webs, and then they grow and they grow and they grow, and that's the community. Yeah. So, who are your sponsors? Just out of curiosity, I'm always curious. I'm gonna say York Pretzel Company.
No.
You guys don't even sponsor your own event.
No, we don't actually like pretzels.
Yeah. I'm a big fan.
Green Mountain Energy sponsored our glasses this year. I don't want to say exactly what, because I could be wrong, but I know Green Mountain Energy, Sprint, Renewal by Anderson, Brewery Products, the Parliament Arts Organization assisted with entertainment, which is actually what I do for full time.
Yeah, I was gonna say you work for Parliament, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anyone? If I forgot someone, I'm sorry. I hope you don't.
CGA.
CGA.
Oh, see,
they sponsor our golf carts, so we can zip around.
Oh, that's cool. No, that seems like a great thing, and I don't want to drop names or anything, but is the event entirely yours between the three of you? Is that what this is? That it's just you guys, and it's at Penn Park, which is not the greatest park in the entire world, but the greatest park in the city, and it should be shown in a better light. And oh god, you guys could have just came over and we could have screamed at each other in the kitchen and all agreed on the same thing.
I've been screaming at people on Facebook lately, but in a nice way.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And I just wrote a article that's going to be running in next Sunday's YDR, and it basically is me being very nice about what a lot of event planners are feeling in York right now, which is people who say, well, we didn't hear about it, and why did something get canceled? Like the York White Rose Run got canceled because they were told at the last minute that the police couldn't man the intersections, and it would have cost too much to do it otherwise. And they didn't have the time because it's next weekend to have volunteers, which is a problem. And so the point of my article is pretty much without sponsors and continued support from community members as volunteers. You think York doesn't have enough going on now? Wait and see.
Well, I was going to say that was my other thought was that now I just went down and volunteered at the Turtle Derby, right? And whatever, interpersonal politics may have shaded that just because I wanted to see a friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a long time. I missed you, Paul. Whatever. Anybody that listened to episode 5 or 6, whatever it was. So went down to clean up turtles and all that stuff. And I thought, oh, this is cool. There were a lot of people there to volunteer, a lot of kayaks out. It was a really fun little thing. And then I saw that the York Flea was canceled because of lack of volunteership.
I don't think it was.
Are you sure of that?
It is still happening. Wait, was it supposed to be this weekend?
It was supposed to be. Yeah, it was. Because, excuse me, I'm out of town this weekend.
Wait, that...
Yeah, I was going to say, I swear, I hate to rely on Facebook.
We all just pulled out our phones right now.
I know, we're all being so annoying.
So we actually are friends with the people that do York Flea, and I didn't know that. And that could be me. I do know that they had people cancel for teardown and setup. And that's actually a lot of the problem that I addressed in the article is even, with the food trucks, we had 48 volunteers per... They did.
Yeah, they did. Because I read that through that, or I read that through that post.
Oh, so that is for the
This is for
race.
the run.
Oh,
not the York Flea.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You just had me nervous. But look at the gamut of. We had 48 volunteers at the food trucks. York Flea basically needs 4 or 5 people to help set up and the same to tear down, and that's all their needs are during the day. Yet it is completely understandable that the 2 girls who do it can't do everything alone.
Well, no, obviously not. Yeah. And I was gonna say, well, so yeah, that ad or that post may have been a misnomer, and I may have misinformed myself, but it was only cancellation of a thing. But that poster had made a good point, which was reach outside of your own circles, which seems like that is kind of a problem that's going on, where it's somehow class warfare between a bunch of people that are in the same class, like literal high school class. Just let's go with that example that we're having. Like it's like these little pockets are forming and everybody's doing their thing, and then like they're like one's more successful and everybody gets mad about it, and then they shun and all this, and it's just like I'd happily volunteer for the Flea. I'm out of town. I have no reason to go. I don't, I went last month. It was great. It's a great little thing. I don't specifically have any reason to go, but if I volunteer, I have plenty of reason to go. Like it doesn't mean, yeah. And, for because you had posted something about the volunteer sign up sheet or whatever, and I checked it and I was like, oh, the dates don't work out because I'm way up in the woods.
But see, you're also well ahead of a lot of other people by just checking and saying that you would go if you were in town.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say they don't see it, and then I will ask, oh, do you follow the event on Facebook? And they say yes. And then I just kind of try to be nice when I say, well, then read the posts, because you will always see every event asking several times for volunteers.
Yeah.
But we are actually, Matthew has started an event organizers guild. It's a Facebook chat with a lot of us who plan events in York City.
That's
and
not
volunteers is one of the big issues we've been talking about. If there's a way to streamline all of our needs and make a better, if people are really having a hard time keeping track, is there something we can do together to make it easier and help all of ourselves?
Yeah, that's sensible. That's a wise move on your part if you'd like to join the conversation.
I really like the word guild.
Yeah.
Always wanted to found one. Yeah.
I fully agree with you. Like, I feel like you should take my dice bag with you next time you
100%. Yeah.
But no, that seems smart. It seems like a wise thing, and there is like, you're not looking for super specific volunteers that are like, oh, well, you're really good with Photoshop and Excel. It's like, no, we need you to pick up boxes. Everybody, okay, let me rephrase that. Most human beings can pick up boxes.
I can't right now. I have a sprained elbow.
Do you?
That's why the food truck festival and moving was fun.
I saw you had a foot thing
and
on
I
too.
broke my foot too.
Yeah, how'd you break your foot?
Same time I broke my elbow.
Oh God.
I just really didn't want to move boxes or volunteer at my own festival. So no, I'm kidding.
No.
But you're right. A lot of the times we're asking for help us put out chairs, help us put out tables, help us put up easy tents.
Yeah. It's simplistic.
Yeah.
Like, and I was gonna say, and we like the Scarbox Guitar Festival just came through. Some friends of mine are vendors there, and I wake up at the butt crack of dawn and help them set up, and then I go do my thing for the rest of the day. They stay at my house the whole weekend. I don't mind. I like it. I'm glad to help. It takes me a few minutes. That's it. You know, like, that's the thing is, I think the expectation that a lot of people have is like, oh, well, I got to be there all day to do this thing. It's like, well, probably not.
Yeah. Our shifts were 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's a 7-hour day. If you want to eat food, you can eat food. You can still help. And we're actually different than a lot of the other events in town, that because Crocodile Dog Marketing does several other beer and wine events, that we always offer tickets to other events for helping us. So you're actually you're not just helping out of the goodness of your heart, you're actually getting a free ticket to a future event.
Yeah, but it's way cooler to do it out of the goodness of your heart.
Absolutely.
But no, tickets help.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. I don't care anyway. I just want them to show up.
Yeah, that is a good, I was gonna say that's a good way to entice somebody. That's a that's a reasonable thing, and it's good. I don't see any issue with this, and I swear to God, if I didn't have all the wrong connections, this would be the longest, most infuriating episode you've ever listened to. 'Cause, yeah, exactly. Well, when did you guys take over? When did Crocodile Dog take over the food trucks? How long ago? Because I had thought it was someone else's.
So the fun thing about this event is it used to happen twice a year. And
That's
I
what I
think
thought.
it happened the first 3. It was almost biannual, and then I was kind of involved with the whole group of people. Like, I was already friends with them and all that. And so the first 2 happened. In the second one, we kind of gave them some tents and things like that, and helped out a little bit. And the third one, we helped out a lot more. And then I think in the fourth one, it was very clear that it was having, like, because it's a free event and everyone was involved was kind of putting out their own money to make sure these things happen. And then they were trying to recoup, some of the stuff as it happened, but everyone was still losing money. So we had offered to kind of give them the financial support and say, you know what, let's run all the bills. Let's do it. That way you can worry about making the event what it needs to be. And so we kind of became the financial backer of the event. And it ran like that for another year until we moved it to Penn Park.
That was 2 years ago.
I think it was 3 years ago. I think this is our third year ago.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I remember that was a whole great conversation and a kind of moment that we all had when we decided to move it up there. And then it happened there 1 year. And then I had expressed interest because the team was kind of getting tired. Like, I mean, they were all doing their things. We were starting pretzel companies. They were starting new jobs. They were like, everyone was all over the place. And this thing had become so large that none of them were doing this for a full-time job like we were with Crocodile Dog Marketing. And the whole food truck thing with downtown had kind of run its course, and whatever parties involved had kind of did their thing to it so that it no longer became an issue to have food trucks. But I was like, it's not about the food trucks anymore. It's about the community.
Right.
It was about taking 15,000 people at that time, putting them into a city with a parking problem, and into a park that had a bad reputation, and everyone gets out safe and no one complains about parking.
Yeah.
And we had decided that doing that exact thing right there was doing more for York and the image of York than any of the events we had ever run up to that point, or would probably run after that, because it was addressing like head on many of the problems that people have. And we still see when people like, oh, more like 200 people, like, you never get me down there, or like, good luck getting not shot, well, and it's ridiculous. But
that is such an idiotic perspective. All that is an excuse to not be part of something but still feel bigger than a thing, even though no matter what you do, you are the same as the people who have gone, who are there, who live in that town, who do whatever. You are the same human being. There's nothing better about you. And you just make excuses as to why to not show up. And like, yeah, I was going to say, when you guys walked in, yeah, I'm on a super strict diet. I'm sober. And honestly, I forgot to go. I had a family thing. That ran over, and I honestly forgot to stop by. And because I want to say hi to Heather and high five all the Derby girls, because they're pretty awesome.
You know what's really good for diets at What the Food Trucks? Running the event.
Yeah.
This year was the first time I actually ate at the event, and it was only because Roost had promised to just feed me because I knew I don't eat, and then Matthew brought it to me. That's the only thing I had all day.
There you go. But like, it seems like the asinine stereotypes of bygone eras just hang on, and people use them as a shield as to why they didn't just. You don't even have to go and spend money. You don't have to do. You can just show up.
It's a free park, free admission.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of families that showed up and set up their own tents. You could bring your own like waters, and they would just set up and they spent the day. We have the splash pad on for the kids. Last year when we took it over, we added a community corner, and that involves nonprofits, all of whom brought an activity for children.
Oh, wow.
So if you have a kid and you're there for 6 hours eating, there's something for the kids to do. Even the kids that live around the park were able to come out, and they didn't have to eat.
Yeah. And they could do their thing. And like, that is exactly the expectation of what like any summer end block party in any block of the city. That's what it usually is. It's just this one's more guided. I was going to say it's not a controlled environment, but it's a more guided environment with you have your ideas in mind. Food trucks, microbrews, cool stuff. There you go. It's all there for you. Bands,
And people still like to say it's unsafe, and I think it's probably the safest damn day in Penn Park.
Yeah.
We pay for security through York City Police and Chad Detective Agency.
Yeah, that's I was going to say. Everything has a bad reputation when you're living on the outside of it.
And you're looking for the bad parts.
When you're looking for the negativity of it. Let's see. I was going to say I used to live on Park Place. I used to walk from Waterway to Park Place after blacking out at 2:00 in the morning, and never had an issue. Not ever in my entire life. I had, when I lived downtown, when I lived on Arch Street, Salem Avenue, never an issue, because it's just, if you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it. Just leave people alone.
No, 100%.
Yeah, and it just the idea that people are just waiting there, they're waiting behind the statues to stab you. Stop being silly. You're making up things that make you look like an idiot when you say them. And it's like, if you're going to go off that and say that's why this is a negative event, and not admire the fact that 20,000 people came down, and in that amount of time, somebody got to buy jerseys for their kids' football season because they came down on a weekend to serve you kick-ass handmade cuisine out of the back of a truck. To not look at the positive of it all, and to not even herald that and let it go by the wayside when we're talking about, but at the same time, the flag of tiny things that are, here and gone, and we're waving that flag all year long, when we could just be celebrating people that are trying to acknowledge the fact that the community of York is more than just X amount of blocks downtown, and this kind of people and these friends and that and all that jazz. It's like we should be celebrating you guys and the marketing team that put together What the Food Trucks and your other 8 events that you hold between a full-time job and a pretzel company. And Roost on, aren't you part of Roost on Common Kitchen as well?
Part of Roost. No.
Okay.
Delicious food, though.
No, yeah, I was gonna say.
Don't go there on your diet. You'll
No, I can't. I look at their ads. I'm happy to give it a like and keep it in the feed or whatever. But yeah, I can't go. I would probably pass out.
Yeah. But no, we definitely struggle with that a lot, especially on our. I'm usually the one of the 3 that will try to find the positive in what we're doing a lot of the times, especially when we get really high stress right around events. But I have lost my relative shit, like the day of the event when people are rude and kids throw rocks at us for picking up trash. And, it's hard you have to remind yourself. And I think this past Sunday was a wonderful example of why we do what we do. I work a full-time job. Matthew teaches. We run a business that does consultant work. He does all these festivals. I help with them. We don't just show up and make a bunch of money and roll around in it for doing any of the things that we do. We do it because we think it's important.
I was gonna say, I think that's the problem, because nobody can sit and admire you for being the people with the giant wallet that are doing a thing and adding to their coffers by the end of the day, and there's no reason to admire you for all the actual hard work that you're doing because your wallet ain't fat.
And we don't need to be admired for it. We just would love more support.
Yeah, that's the thing.
For this community, not just our events, all events. And my column that's running next Sunday really hits on I know I keep accidentally plugging it. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
What? Am I not close enough?
You were just talking to the back of the wall.
Looking around. I'm looking around the room.
Super directional. Directional mic. You're good.
But it's this idea of this community that we found in these other event planners. We help Mary Yeeple a lot with York City events. Matthew has brought her chicken nuggets because I'm like, she's not eating and she won't listen to me. So he will come down with chicken nuggets. A friend of ours who I call my calming ninja has a tendency to show up when I'm about to lose it. We have friends that will come out and answer the call when we need help. And I almost included in the column, God help you if you start dating an event planner in this city, because you're screwed. You're going to end up working every event, which is what happened to me.
Yeah.
But our family and friends will come out and they will help. But all of these events, not just ours, don't need to be run by the same group of really passionate people. And I think there are people out there, and I truly believe that they are struggling to find the information. It's just really difficult to figure out how to help more. It's like we already haven't, I don't know, I always feel bad because I'm like, we have enough to do, and now we have to figure out why you don't see what 20,000 people see. But again, if we're missing something, we want to know what it is, and we want to at least try.
Right. I can't imagine what you'd be missing at this point, because I was gonna say, I remember when the event used to be down on whatever street that is, that
Pershing.
Yeah, that's it, Pershing. That's the one I always forget. But yeah, I remember when that was down on Pershing, and it was a little thing, and you'd get there, and if you weren't there 45 minutes in advance, by the time you hit the register, you weren't eating because everything was sold out. And that's a good thing, and it grows. And I feel like the majority of people are not seeing not seeing the micro successes as actual progress. Because this is absolutely progress. When you consider that after 20,000 people left, the park was clean, and the people that live around the park stepped out on their porch and looked out and said, "Hey man, that was real noisy, but it's 9:00 at night and I'm going to bed and everything's good." And all those people were here and there were no problems. Everything's good. They get to go to sleep and they get to think, okay, this is my community. This is a thing. Everything's fine. And it just, that's what always has boggled my mind, is that nobody pays attention to anything but the events or anything but the, whatever party, blah, 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 business, etc., when real people are just living downtown and nobody's paying attention to them. And it's like,
We have a lot of people that say, "Oh God, this park is so lovely. Who knew it was here?" It's the biggest park in the city, isn't it?
And it's right next to our high school.
Yeah,
I was
a lot
gonna
of
say-
people should know it's there.
Oh,
And
they
please come
should.
back more
Yeah.
than just
No.
the food trucks.
Yeah. No, seriously, go to Penn. Like, I had to work early the morning of whatever this year's freshman rally outside of York High. I would have went, but why would I have gone? I don't have kids in that school because those kids are gonna eventually be done and they're gonna be out here, and we should get some hype going for the sake of getting it going. Like, there's no profit in it. There's no profit in caring about people. There's no profit in being human, but we still can.
Well, and it only helps us in the future.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the things that we want to do with future sponsors are not to have us make more money. It's not to do the things that we're already doing. It's to create new community-based ways to give back. We would love to give truck bucks so that the residents around Penn Park can come out and spend the money and get to eat from these trucks that maybe they can't afford.
Yeah.
This year, we worked with Sweet Willow's Creamery to reward the children that came out to help us pick up trash the day before with a free ice cream ticket for each bag they picked up. Now, it was pouring down rain, so 2 kids came out, but they got a lot of tickets, and you know that they either shared them with their friends or taunted their friends.
Yeah.
And maybe next year, 5 come out, and maybe next year, the year after that, 20 come out.
Yeah.
It's not just about bringing them into the park for that day.
Yeah.
And we would like to do more. And when we do start to create a surplus with cash, we've always talked about giving back to the residents around Penn Park. I'm not saying I know what they want or need, but we can ask them. And then maybe we can help bring, you've got those tennis courts that are abandoned.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want tennis courts, but maybe they want something else, and maybe we can help do that.
Well, we have Reed Menzer.
We do.
Go ahead.
But there's
thought,
also the Tray and Boo Classic that happens every year a little bit before with the food trucks. They've struggled with paying for police protection. Well, maybe that's something the community would decide they'd want us to help support. We're completely open to it. We just need sponsors to help us make that happen. And I think in this event and a lot of other events that have been happening for years, people just assume, oh, they're just going to keep happening because you've got this group of, in our case, 3 people who are super passionate about it and probably would have a hard time letting it go. So do we really need to help? It's going to happen.
Yeah, but it's not. And that's the thing, is you can hashtag whatever you want, but not being involved is still not being involved. That's the thing, is that you even brought it up, and this is the first time I've heard anyone involved with downtown actually say it, which is we could ask the residents. We could just open the door and start a conversation with the people that are here instead of shying away from them as if like they're in our way or we're in their way. Yeah. Because that's not the truth of it. It's just, hey, we're going to come over to Penn, hey, next Labor Day, we're going to be out at Penn Park. We're going to be doing the same thing. What can we do to make it a better day for you?
Last year
Go ahead.
I was going to say 100%. That's what we did when we, like that day that we decided that we were going to move it to Penn Park, and all the reasons that were bouncing around in the chat. Philip and I, we walked around that park, and we were talking to the people that were sitting out on their porches and asking them, hey, how do you feel about this? Is parking going to be an issue? We wanted to figure out what was going to affect them the most. And we got answers we didn't even really expect. Some were like, we don't even park here anyway. Usually we're gone during the day, and it's not even going to be an option. Things like that. And they're like, you just let us know ahead of time, and we can, we have plenty of places to park. We live here. We know where, all the parking is. So we were able to just head off a lot of problems, and they appreciated it a lot more. And I know some of them come out, and I recognize some of them at the event every year. So
yeah, it's not hard to actively engage with the people that are there. Sincerely, and I was gonna say, and my family history goes back to me knowing, my grandpa worked at AMF, my grandma worked at the Lafayette Club for her entire life. I knew everybody. I've known all of our lawyers. I've known Willie that runs the hub my entire life. But when was the last time you stopped in a not you personally, but when was the last time you drove by the hub and thought, well, I need to stop in and just say hi? You don't have like.
I heard he's a really, really nice guy. My friend got his
He is
shoes
super
fixed
cool.
there.
He is a super sweet.
She broke a heel on our way between meetings, and he fixed it for her.
Yeah, he is. He's an excellent guy, and he is an excellent tailor. It's like, I know most commonality is to go buy a pair of jeans, pull it off the rack, and figure out what fit it suits you best. Go buy a regular pair of jeans and take them to Willie. He will make them fit you the right way, and it costs you $6 or $7. $6 or $7. 20 minutes later, you got the best pair of fit jeans that you could ever buy, and it's there. But that was the when we had that dry gulch of nothing going on downtown, when all the bars left, when all the nightlife left, when all that was going on, like all that was still there. All those people, they were all still there, and everybody just stopped taking advantage of it, and they just said, oh well, we're done. We don't need to go down there anymore. We'll go somewhere different because it's more fun now rather than investing the time and the energy into making it what it is now. And you take the food trucks, and it was, every time the event happened, it rained. I have no idea why.
Except for when we took over.
Man.
Yeah, the first 3 or 4 times when it was down on Pershing, it was like, you know what? I got to walk past the Penn store, so I'm pretty excited. So I'm going to walk past the Penn store, and then I'll go down to the food trucks, and I will deal with this miserable rain.
Yeah, we got 2 inches of rain that one time.
Yeah.
It was insane.
That was intense.
One of the other things, I'm backtracking a little bit about Matt
go
talking
ahead.
about Penn Park and talking to the neighbors. So last year, and I believe the year before, the stage was on the basketball court. And we printed out these little signs that were like, we're sorry, we're using your court. Like, please forgive us. We'll be out of your way soon. But we really identified last year that kids still wanted to play. We were using half the court. They were playing behind us. That would, of course, make us a little nervous for the equipment and everything. Yeah. But that was one of the things that was identified as we would love to have a stage sponsor. And if we had a stage sponsor, we could pull it off the court. So this year, the stage was on the edge of the court, and the kids had the full basketball court. So local kids who play there every day were not impeded by 20,000 people in their park.
Yeah. And that I was going to say, and that's something to like, that really is something magical, almost magical, is that like, hey, we're going to bring most of this county into this little, it's only a block. It's only a square block, Penn.
It's about a square block and a half.
Okay, yeah.
It's a weird measurement.
That's still, I was going to say, that's not even that much space, reasonably.
Yeah, it's like 700 feet by 700 feet or something.
Yeah,
weird.
so 4,900 square feet,
I've done the math.
and you're putting 20,000, throughout the day, 20,000 people are traversing through 4,900 square feet. That's pretty.
We had a lot of people who would
49,000
say-
square feet. I'm sorry, my math is wrong. 700 by
math.
700. Yeah, okay.
We had a lot of people who are on Facebook like, oh, God, my family reunion is that day. And we're like, bring them to the park.
Yeah,
We got plenty of space.
that wouldn't be so. And just to quell my one curiosity, you said you shuttled people in. Where did you set up parking? Was it down at the old candy warehouse there around the block?
Nope. We actually did it from York College. We work with York College to use the rail trail parking lot at Grantley.
Oh, okay.
As well as Susquehanna Commerce Center on West Philly.
Oh.
So people could park there, and did we pick up our signs?
No.
We did not pick up our signs this year.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. I bet Susquehanna Commerce Center has ours because they kept it safe, but they let Brian know last time.
Yeah, they're nice people.
Mental note. But we put signs out there. Maybe they exist or still or not. And the waits, one of the things we want to do this year is touch base with our drivers. And really, we know a lot of people use them. And I saw it, so it was routinely coming through. I know sometimes in some other events in the city, people complain about waits. But I was seeing the buses come through very regularly. But we would love to know how full the trucks were, or the buses were. And just to kind of talk to the drivers about it. So we actually have their information. We want to do that this year.
Oh, I
because
gotcha.
if they're packed every single time, maybe we need a third location.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, Sundays it's extra easy because all garages and meters are free.
Yeah.
And
Not for
St.
long.
Pat's actually moved their mass on Sunday to 6:00 so that we could use it for our volunteers, use their parking lot.
Wow.
And so that their mass wouldn't be necessarily affected.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I think people want to be a part of it. I hope they do.
I think that is the overall. I honestly do think that is the overall feeling of all of it, is that people do want to walk away. People do want to go to a thing and be a part of it and walk away feeling better about it, especially with downtown. I think the biggest misunderstanding is not realizing that you don't need to climb some social ladder to get to a spot where you can do it. Yeah, there are no pre-qualifications. If you want to go down, if you want to go help, just say I want to help and go do it. And it's always weird the first time, but after that.
We always say send a message on whatever event's Facebook page. Show up. Say, can I lend a hand? And we even take it as far as when we have people trolling us on Facebook for why don't we do this or why don't we do that? Do it. If you think York needs it, do it. That is the one thing that I moved here about 9 years ago. And that is my favorite thing about this town, that anybody with an idea can at least try. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it becomes a pretzel company because you didn't like pretzels and you had to find one that you did like. Maybe it becomes what the food trucks, that now is one of the largest events in the city. That was a group of people who were pissed with the city's food truck ordinances.
They didn't make any sense.
No, they still
at all.
don't.
They still don't.
They still don't.
They're.
But I mean, shit, a lot of us would help. I have a friend who texted me today asking questions about what kind of events insurance he would need. We are more than willing to lend guidance or answer questions about doing something, and then most likely we'll be there to lend a hand. I know that there's an event going on tomorrow that they said, oh my gosh, everybody dropped off from Teardown, and the same people in this group of event planners are like, we'll be there. But it shouldn't have to be them every time.
Yeah. No, there should be a pool. You don't have to come every time, and if you can, just do it. That's the biggest thing is if you can do it, just do it. It's not gonna.
You will see Mara Yeeple working at every What the Food truck because we help her at the York City events, and we don't do it because we feel like we have to. We do it because we want to.
Yeah, that's the thing is that we need to harvest it, or we need to hoe this garden of want to. Not need to. It's not. There's no the mechanical nature of everything, and that mechanical feeling of gotta do it, so that I fit in and all that.
Although sometimes I feel like I gotta do it because I said I would.
Well,
and I don't want to do it, but I still go do it.
but it is the want of the whole thing, and I'm still mad that they took over the White Rose parking lot. It makes me so angry because they don't validate. Yeah. Anyway,
but I do.
I totally get it.
I am very against those. I don't like that, but it's the same price as the meter, which is one step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And at least you get the ticket and you pay it later, as opposed to having to go pay it and then take it back to your car and do all that.
Oh yeah, no, that system's a little goofy, but yeah, no, it just surprised me because I went down there on my birthday for dinner, and it really threw me for a loop because I'd stopped paying attention for a while because I do that. My wife and I both have these, we'll have these super intense cycles where we're down and we're doing everything that we can. We're trying our damnedest to do it, to keep up with everything. And then eventually we burn ourselves out and we just kind of hide out here for a few months. And that's okay.
I'd like to do that. Can I do
really
that
need
soon?
that.
Yeah. I was going to say, stop scheduling.
Although today, when we were in the car, and he was like, well, maybe we should do this. And it's this massive project. And I'm like, no.
Well, yeah.
We don't need another project right now.
So now just out of curiosity, I had this thought because I'm a cinephile and I love movies and stuff. And I was texting one of the fans I was texting Katie about where I should hold a movie night. I want to do an outdoor movie night or an indoor movie night with super obscure titles that you wouldn't want to watch anyway. It's not Disney films or anything fun like that. But she's like, oh, why don't you do it at the old screen at Farker Park? And I was like, I don't even think that's up anymore. So Mike, I was gonna say, I want to throw a wrench in your thought gears. So why not a movie night at Penn Park? Because I was in.
Why not?
I was gonna say I was in.
Do it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. We'll have to talk about that off air because it's fun and stuff like that's neat and even. I can't even remember the name of the town.
I wish that people would see Matt smirks whenever he's.
I know.
When he was on the radio, I have a picture of him making some shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
No, I'm just remembering a conversation we had about having a movie night at a certain place.
Was it at Penn Park?
Where it wasn't at Penn Park, but it was in the city.
I know where else you. I was gonna. That was my other
beautiful
thought.
spot, and I'm like, we could just have people bring in couches, or we could have a bunch
He
of
just wants
couches
to bring in
nearby, and
couches.
we could just all sit there on couches and recliners.
That
and
said, if
movies.
you're looking for a place, the Parliament Arts Organization has a lovely courtyard and an indoor space.
Yeah,
that's what we had talked
that's
about.
true.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, if you've ever been to Bar Harbor, Maine, they have a movie theater there that is all old movie. It's all old couches, no seats. It's gross. That's a good way to get bed bugs.
It's gross, amazing.
They serve pizza and have couches. I think doesn't Zootropolis out in Lancaster has that too. Not to hype Lancaster at all.
You don't Lancaster. No, I think
no.
Lancaster's swell too. I always consider York Lancaster's scrappy cousin.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing too, because you're a transplant. When I was a kid, we used to make fun of Lancaster for being in the wrong era. Like we used to make fun of. In 1993, we made fun of Lancaster for being stuck in the 60s because it was, and it always was, and we kept making fun of it. And then eventually, the tide shifted and the voltmeter ran to the wrong side, and we were all like, "Whoa!" But that's the thing is that whatever, like when you do go out to their market and you do all their fun stuff, and you realize that all their buildings are like all their, businesses and stuff are within a block and a half walk of each other. You're like, okay, this is really cool, and this is really easy and neat and convenient. And the thing is, they based it all on a very, very tight-knit community of business owners that worked together in the most common sense way. They worked together in a long-term project, and now Lancaster is beautiful downtown. So, I mean, we could probably take a page from them and do the same thing and maybe have those expectations that 5, 6, 7 years down the road with working together instead of nonsense competition 300 yards away from each other in the same
I have this
city
conversation a lot.
might work out better.
I do think that certain neighborhoods are actually working very hard.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so, to do exactly that. I am part of, obviously, Royal Square.
Yeah.
But I come from newspapers, and my only affiliation to Royal Square is that I run the Parliament now.
Yeah.
And so I'm all about sharing the wealth. When we talk about marketing and wayfinding, I'm like, well, what about Wico and what about Beaver Street? And, just kind of linking it all together. I think all the neighborhoods are doing a lot. And I think that Downtown Inc., I've had some really good conversations with the staff at Downtown Inc. about better ways to continue to support the distinct neighborhoods, because if we all succeed and we all do more, then it only helps everybody.
Yeah. But at the
you'll still find the people who only care about themselves and who are competing with the person across the street. But
and that's the nonsense thing about it is like there is okay, so every neighborhood surely is distinct, but the overall feel of each of these intersparing neighborhoods is like, okay, it's just generally the same thing. It's just one's on the other side of town, or one's on the other side of the creek, and one side. But with that in mind, and to my two favorite human beings in the world, one side of the creek really feels honest, and then everything that they're doing feels there is an honest, authentic, like that authentic feel is there. That what they want is for the neighborhood to be better, and they want the overall feel of everything to be better. And it's like, that feels right. And then you walk somewhere else and you're like, well, now I'm a tourist in the town that I live in. How is that a thing?
Again, they probably, I know who you're talking about, want to keep growing and building in the right ways, but there are not enough businesses around them right now to help support that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they continue to do these really great things.
Yeah.
I think everybody's looking for a way to improve, and I don't know.
It's just from being somebody who floats around a lot, who gets around a lot, who's had way too many sexual partners in his life. Just for being that guy, like it just seems like everybody doesn't have the same plan of it. It's okay to not have the same plan of attack, but it seems like nobody has the same goal in mind. And it seems almost to a point where it becomes churlishness. Like it becomes this churlish back and forth, like verbal, abuse and all, like, people just saying mean, shitty things about each other. And that's impeding progress because there's no reason for it. Like, everywhere downtown is really cool. Mm-hmm. Every part of downtown is really cool. Every part of the blocks around downtown are full of really cool people who have really ridiculous stories about their life or really weird shit that they've dealt with, and they're awesome too. Yeah. But how do we get this to go from a long roll of, you know, single frames on film to being one giant picture? And it seems like that's what the necessity is, finding not even just one thing to rally around to say, okay, this is how we get to march towards this beautiful, picturesque thing that we all want, because we know we all want it. Mm-hmm. You know, just a beautiful reason to go downtown and a fun happening, which is a fun happening place. But
yeah. I think everybody is rightly so concerned about their bottom line and their own success, because it takes a lot to be a business owner anywhere. But I have definitely seen the other side of it too. I'm part of the merchant groups for all of downtown York and Royal Square in specific, and they all are looking out for each other. When somebody brings in like counterfeit bills, or someone who returns with like checks that keep bouncing, like people will be like, they're back today, and then everybody will see it and they'll comment, and then whoever sees them next will let the police know. And so they're definitely working together. When the internet was cut downtown a couple weeks ago, everyone was, oh, we still have it, you can come over here and work. So I mean, I think there's definitely... Yeah, it was cut like right around the square during the middle of a business day.
I missed that too.
It was quite frustrating for some Beaver Street merchants, as it should be.
Yeah.
Comcast like cut it in the middle of the day.
Oh, I got you. I was up in I was in my truck in the mountains, hundreds of miles away from here.
But I definitely think and maybe that's a change. I obviously have only been involved in this aspect for a short amount of time, but I do think that people are starting to learn that other people's success means well for them as well.
Yeah.
Because if I'm bringing someone into the Parliament, then they're probably going to go down to the Hive and the King's Courtyard and the new cigar shop. They're at least going to poke there's a new cigar shop.
I didn't know that. I just quit smoking, damn it.
I mean, there's not one. Don't go.
Yeah, I know.
And so if you're going to come there anyway, you're probably more likely to poke your head in the other shops while you're there.
Yeah, that is a good point, and that is the commonality. Like, if I'm going down to the Hive because my wife's got a painting in the whatever the opening show is, while I'm down there, I'm stopping in to see Devin and John. I'm stopping in to go walk through Redo and question whether I need more books or not. And and then, the eventuality is that I'm walking across town to the Emporium and buying more books that I don't need, just because that's how I roll. So yeah, it is a question of how many lines can we cast out to catch fish, and when we catch the fish, how do we make it so that everyone eats? I know it's a weird thing.
Well, some of that's going to have to do with, and we've talked about this in our inner circles for a while, is just hitting that critical mass. First, we were trying to do it with the First Friday, and the people behind First Friday, that was the main driving force. Was there were themes, there were things going on, and there were very discrete things, but it was all about getting it to that point where people didn't necessarily care what was happening on First Friday. They just knew they could go down and they would find something entertaining.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so they took that idea and that became successful. And then that has expanded to other neighborhoods. And so now there's easily an entire evening, and sometimes you have to choose between things. But now that has to be expanded through all of us event runners and programs that are trying to run and things like this, to make that citywide, so that at any given time you can come down and do something. And when it's happening all of the time, it feels less like competition and more like you're just adding atmosphere. You're adding quality of life to something that's already going, instead of saying, oh, well, I'm doing this and you're doing this, or why are you doing it on the same day? It's like, no, we're like, people are they're going to roam between these things. They're not going to spend 6 hours at your thing. Like, we don't expect people are going to come at 11 o'clock and leave at 6 p.m.
Some probably do.
For with the food truck, and I don't expect the same thing for any of the other events that I run. Yeah. I'd rather someone come in for half of it and then go, if there's something else happening, go support that as well.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately, I think that's what's going to save us, is getting more support for the people that are running the events that are happening, and then having people like us help or be there to assist in other groups that want to start their own events, and then helping those events start, because that's really what it's about. There's so little sponsorship money that's going around. There's so little support and volunteer base that's going around that it is hard to start up another event. And then when it does start up, you're like, no, now that's taken a part of the pie, and we're still trying to keep this going. And then we have things like the round of grants that came through from the YCCVB. That was a whole issue of a podcast in itself.
Yeah.
But, you know, the long and short of it is you have, you know, $700,000 that was available, and more than half of it went to an organization that doesn't do their job well and just keeps throwing bad money after bad stuff. Can you imagine how many, like $400,000? Can you imagine how many events could have been started in York?
Well, I was gonna say
it's just insane.
So I was gonna say take outsider thinking. Well, okay, on average, how much does it actually cost to run a Saturday or Sunday event? Which is more than likely, I can hear that on the mics. Sorry. You know, which is probably about what, $3,500, $4,500, maybe $5,500 bucks, right around there.
If you're responsible with it, and that's.
I mean, so what do you do? What would 400 grand get you? What is that, like? Every box at the ball field?
Well, I mean, you $4,500. Let's say that's the number.
Yeah,
you're looking at, four 350 events roughly.
Yeah,
350 events. Like, you could almost run
something
a new
every
event every single day. And even if it fails, you've probably still made, even if a vast majority of those fail, you have made more of an impact on the community, because people are trying and people are out there, and, you know, the tide is trying to rise, instead of it all going to one place and you're like, hey, cool, we have another sporting event. You know? Yeah.
No, so just to put something into this podcast, I'm going to edit right back out. I don't disagree. It is its own catch-22, which is if you want to take a giant building and give people jobs, you take that giant building and you make them work construction in it, and then when it's finished, you hope that they come back and live in that building. But that's not gonna work. But no, I was gonna say, but reasonably, homeownership in the downtown, homeownership in New York City itself needs to increase. And
why we bought our house last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's why you're downtown homeowners, and I mean, you're part of the solution now. That's great.
Well, I'd like to believe we were always part of this.
And I think all of the major event runners
live downtown.
We all live downtown.
Yeah. Well, that's good, because as long as you have a home within the city limits, you can run for mayor next time.
I don't want.
I've actually had 2 people before ask me to run for mayor.
Could you please? I own this place, or else I'd move downtown so that I could, just because I'd rather fail trying than not. You know what I mean? Like, it's because as much as I say, you know, you're gonna run home after you're done downtown to your suburban home, I do the same thing. But I'm not that far. I'm seriously 200 feet out of the city limits. Like, it's me and then Roberitos and then York City.
I'm still so surprised by the number of people who work downtown who leave right at 5 o'clock, and they've never been to dinner at any of the downtown places. They've never been to Collusion. They've never been to Holy Hound. They've never.
That's an odd thing, because it seems like that's almost an ingrained paranoia that once the workday is over, you don't want to be caught downtown after it's dark, and it's like nobody's going to openly say it because nobody openly thinks it, but it's just long-term programming because we're.
Well, I mean, that happens in any city. I mean, how many people work in Baltimore and have never... I mean, my grandfather worked in Baltimore at GM for 30 years probably, and I bet he never once, did anything in the city itself.
Well, and I was going to say, and like that's the other thought, is that at 5 o'clock, the only thing that is open are bars and restaurants, like especially during the weekdays, which, I mean, there are, of course, exceptions to that rule, or exceptions to that statement. But, if I need to go down for model train stuff, believe it or not, I usually sometimes do. He closes at 5.
That guy knows his stuff, though.
Oh my God, he's the best. I am not a big fan of Lionel, but he does have an HO section, and believe it or not, the HO section that he had for a while was Gladfelder, the paper company. The old owner who passed away, the old founder of Gladfelder, That was most of his train collection.
Hmm.
And he bought it at auction and was reselling it, which was great.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, just an FYI. But we do have White Rose Hobbies for anybody else that needs model railroad stuff out. I don't even know what their address is now. They moved.
I think that guy's a Jeep guy too. I think he has like an old 40s Willys in his garage.
Oh, the guy downtown?
The guy.
I would believe you. Mm-hmm. And he paints those jackets that hang up on the... Yeah, it's great. That's its own... I was going to say, that's its own weird little nostalgic universe because it's always been there. But do you really need to go there after 5?
Probably not.
But, you know, that is the thought, is that with all the businesses downtown being surrounding the blocks around the market, you go to market on your lunch break, and then what else do you need?
Right.
Reasonably. How often
and that's
can you buy
something
soap?
that we deal with at the Parliament is we have gallery hours Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 11 to 3. And even when we are open, and the gallery is just one of the 50 billion ways that we do things in New York. And it serves for me more as like a home so that people know that's where we are. But people don't walk in, and I have this conversation with them all the time, but the way that people walk into Market View Arts will never happen at the Parliament because Central Market is right across the street. Now, the more restaurants we have in Royal Square, the more likelihood there are for people to come down and have lunch and then pop in.
Yeah.
But it will never be that same. You go to Market, and then sure, you might pop into Kimmons. You might pop in and get flowers from Marcy. You might do all these different things, but, you know, in Royal Square, we've got Taste Test, and we've got the Infusion. It's currently the Infusion Indian place right now. That's about... Oh, and World Girls, which is also amazing.
What is it?
World Girls.
Oh, that's right. That's right there on King.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got 3, but it's definitely... People have a difficult time for some reason going like the 2 blocks from the square up to Royal Square.
That, you know what? I know somebody personally also that went from having a stand in the market to being a standalone shop across the street, and they went out of business within 4 months because nobody wanted to come visit them across the street. There was just no convenience.
People are silly.
Well, people are habitual.
Yes.
You know, that's the thing is like, you just got to get them out of that mindset. And
that's why we will continue to have with the food trucks at Penn Park.
Yeah.
Because we definitely, I mean, we have people that come down who don't come into the city.
Yeah.
But they will come that day.
They should. And there's so much great stuff to do and to check out and to eat and all that fun stuff. It's actually making me hungry.
Next year, I'm going to try to eat twice at what the food.
I ate twice.
I know.
On
He ate the same
truck.
thing both times.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
What'd you have?
Green bowl twice.
Gotcha.
Don't be biased, man.
It was amazing.
We have 42 lovely trucks.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Are they all from York and surrounding, or?
Oh, we pull from Baltimore sometimes, some west, a couple towards Philly and stuff.
Was it nine York County based food trucks? This
Yeah,
year?
I think there were only like 9 of them that were
Is
from York County.
Well, I was gonna say, Soul Burrito still a thing?
It is. They did not attend this year.
No, that's a bummer. They're nice people.
They are. They are at the Rev Stadium now, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really easy to pick out where they live because they park their truck in their driveway every now and then. That's a really annoying thing. Like, I know where the guy that owns the new roller skating place lives because I know where his truck is. Yeah, there's the Lincoln Way, the old Lincoln Way bowling alley out here on the end of West Philly. You're looking at me like I'm out of my mind. It's
I think
it's a roller rink.
That's his brain working. Look.
It's a roller rink now.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
our
really
Derby
nice.
friends know that?
Well, they should because it's Frank Quinton who owns Rollerway.
Yeah.
And he just opened a second location out here. It's really nice. So I'm not sure if they do Derby out here or not because I know they're involved with Rollerway there at right next to Vet Stadium and the ice rink, Vander. Yeah, right there off Vander Avenue. Glad I can pull that out of nowhere. But yeah, I was gonna say I'm sure they should know about it because they're kind of like in with the management, I would guess. But yeah, you know, it just it is a really cool thing, and you guys do so much other stuff, and I think people need to realize that like the inner machinations of everything is not just the cool thing. It's that like annoying moment when you're waiting to walk the aisle and you're the bride. And your whole day, like, you're just waiting for that moment, and you're waiting for that moment, and you have to do these little things, and these little things don't seem like they matter at all, but they matter the most, so that when you walk down the aisle, you don't trip.
At least, hopefully, when you're walking down the aisle, people aren't mean to you, because sometimes they're mean to you.
It's
like, you come here for free.
Yeah, you come down to do this thing for free.
And you're an ass to me.
But
But
I just
it is rare.
don't get that.
This year we actually had very, very few issues. This year went very well. Most of our volunteers showed up, which helped a lot.
That usually is a good thing.
Yeah, we had to run back to the garage once. That was our only technical issue, quote unquote, because we needed more wine glasses because we already brought 4 times what we brought last year and we still ran out.
Wow.
So, I mean, issue-wise, it went very, very well. And I think that's what people, most of the times I think event planners focus on all the things that go wrong and it stresses them out and they obviously want to do better, but I bet there is no one who could complain about the overall day that they had. Maybe they didn't get the one thing they wanted from a truck, or maybe there were too many IPAs for their liking in the Treasure Island Beer Garden. But you saw that post too. But overall, you have 42 trucks, lovely music, a lovely park. Like everyone had a good time.
Who was on stage? I keep forgetting.
Port Ellis opened up.
Port Ellis.
Like, blew my
Matthew is the
mind.
new super fan of Port Ellis. I told Gabby, and she was like slightly concerned, but I was like, it's okay. He'll pay you.
It was
to
like
play
waking up, like in that scene from Vanilla Sky where he wakes up to Sigur Rós.
Oh, okay,
Like, it was just like, it's a really nice background music for us to
and
start
it
this
started
event.
out soft, and then it picked up. After Port Ellis, we had Susie B. We had Devix, we had Nate Miller, and the OK's closed out the show.
I gotcha.
A little shout out to our friend Andrew Goebel of, is he technically 717?
Sure.
Productions, who handles our musical lineup every year for What the Food Trucks. We basically say, here's your money. Go make it happen.
There you go.
And it was a good mix this year.
There's nothing wrong with that. That works. It's good to be able to know that you can. All the fingers are gonna clap too when you clap your hands. It's a good thing. So that's good though. I was gonna say, I don't mean to spur any negativity because it's so boring. Like, it's just so boring when you meet people that are just assholes about downtown. Look, this is what I said to somebody the other day, which is, just because I love something doesn't mean I don't get to critique it.
Right.
And I can be critical. You can be critical, but you don't have to be an asshat.
Right.
Like, if something, if the parking brake on one of the trucks let go and it ran over your leg and you lost your leg, sure, be an asshole about that, because I would be too. But
I had a guy yesterday, my column was posted, and it, of course, spurred, rightly so. I mean, I went after certain people saying certain things about York and events and asked them to help instead of being jerks. And, of course, some of the people we're used to seeing came out of the woodworks. And one of them, a lot of people jumped in as a back and forth. And in the end, I went in and said, all right, can we quit this negative back and forth? What have you done that is positive for this community?
yeah.
And he said that he had been a part of some construction that brought X amount of storefronts and apartments into York. And I was like, thank you. That is important to this city. And then he just disappeared because I don't think he expected me to actually thank him. Like, you don't just have to be an event runner. You don't just have to be working at the largest law firm or the best restaurant or the best shop. Like, everybody can play a role. And sure, there are going to be things we all complain about. I do it. But I think there's more good than there is negativity in this town.
I really think there is, and I think I think at this point there's nothing to do but help pick up a flag and run with it. Like, let's pick up the ball and keep it moving, because at this point there's nothing stopping anyone from making your experience downtown. There's nothing that's stopping you from having the best night, whatever night it is. And you have every option available to you at all times, especially if you're going down to eat. Like, everything's there. You should just be going down and doing cool shit. Summertime's over, and I know everybody always gets all down and glum and gloom. Well, no, I love the fall too, but the thing with the fall is, like, that means I get to go to corn mazes out in farmland. And the draw of the eye is naturally out to the woods and out to the fields and farms and all that stuff, because it's harvest time. So that this is like that, that time where people are wondering whether the next First Friday is going to be covered in snow, because it's October and it's the first week of October, and who knows. And,
well, that was Halloween the last time we had a big snow in October.
Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say everybody like this is when your first Friday planning gets a little penchant because you're not sure of the weather and whether it's gonna or whether or not it will cooperate with your planning. But either way,
as an
still
event
go do
planner,
stuff.
weather is the best worst thing to happen because we can't control it.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You can't blame me for the rain, although people have tried.
Yeah, no, and like we got married in our in the backyard of our prior estate. It was not this house, I promise. But you know, my mother-in-law was like, "Well, should we get a tent?" And I was like, I looked at the weather a month in advance, and I was like, it looks like it's gonna be sunny. And we just roll with it.
You sound like the guys that do bad forecasts for hurricanes.
Yeah, that's pretty. I was just. At that point, I was ready to take that risk. I was like, look, let's just do this and be done with it. I'm not going to go out and rent a $1,200 tent for the sake of maybe. It turned out to be a beautiful day. So it was a good gamble.
Yeah, just buy a bunch of umbrellas instead. It could look
Yeah.
cool.
No, it was nice. And we had the barn, so everybody could just run in there anyway. But yeah, no, that is the thing is stop. If we can get people to stop making assumptions and start taking actions, even in the smallest ways. Look, if you've never been down, if you like beer, go down to Holy Hound. If you like anything, go on to Google and find it downtown. There's so much to see and do, and just
If you put out, if you're on Facebook, put out something, ask a question. I'm sure someone you are friends with will be able to answer it.
Yeah. What fun stuff can I do downtown on
Come
Friday
to First
night?
Friday. First Friday is the best opportunity to find something you weren't expecting downtown.
Absolutely. And First Friday, as like I was going to say, First Friday is the best way if you have never been downtown on any other day. First Friday is the best way to come down and just be introduced to everything that you could possibly want to see. Everyone is out on the sidewalks. They're doing their thing, showing it off. Seriously, and like I really want to go to the White Rose for dinner now. But my wife just cooked dinner.
Reach out.
Yeah,
reach out to us if you want to say, hey, who's
Yeah.
on the podcast, blah blah blah. Like, find one of us, and if we're around on First Friday, we'll take you on a tour to York.
We've actually started talking about doing like a almost.
There
like
is an ambassador thing starting.
Yeah,
up
they're
soon.
starting ambassadors through Downtown Inc., I believe. But just the idea, we joke with one of our friends, like, we will take you around if you've never been to York.
Yeah.
Hell, a couple weeks ago, the Garden Club of York came into town on 2 vans, and they visited all the city gardens that are run by this one lady who works out of the Royal Square Garden as well. And afterwards, they ended in Royal Square, and they kind of got a little spiel about all the shops and the galleries and the restaurants, and then they split, and some of them went to Collusion, some went to World Grills, some went to Taste Test, and they came back at the end of the day saying, I feel young again. I had no idea this was here. I'm so excited to come back. So it doesn't matter how long you've been in this city. Like, if you don't have an idea, ask. Like, I'd be more than happy to do like walking tours of York.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, and I'm 3 years into sobriety. I'm 32 years into being angry at DUIs. So, like, I really wish we had like anybody that had a big cargo van with seats in it. Let me have it on Friday and Saturday nights. I would rather people pay nothing to get home safely than smash their car up.
Well, and that's why Uber being in York, and I think Lyft is here, is doing definitely a good job of, especially because your credit card's saved in there, so you don't have to worry about finding the money.
No, you don't have to do anything.
You can plug it in someone else's phone and then shove them into a car, which I've done before.
Yeah, you got to worry about them getting an overdraft fee.
Yeah.
But because the tab.
But in the
comes
grand scheme of things,
no, I
cheaper
agree.
than a DUI.
But yeah, I was gonna say that's something I'm gonna look into because I think that'd be smart. Hey, let's buy a $4,500 van and get all these people where they need to go and not have to have them
seriously back. Get into the back of my van.
Yeah,
I'll take you home.
No, I did it for somebody's wedding because they were all staying at the same hotel and then the venue was like 8 miles away or whatever. I drove everybody to the venue and then I did shuttle runs back and everybody got back to the hotel safe. Perfect. That's all, it just, then it's simple.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people who come into York and don't drink, and that is great. If you do, there are plenty of great places to find wine and beer and spirits. If you don't, there's still plenty of other, and I think a lot of people will become really negative towards, because yes, people make bad decisions. But, there are ways to be safe and partake in York, and there are ways to continue to have all the fun and not.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I was going to say, and anybody that's sober, Holy Hound has great coffee. Yeah. Seriously. Especially late at night, them being the only place that's open with coffee. Good place to sit and have coffee. Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing is just you absolutely can do everything you want to do, and you can do it, and it is a more responsible atmosphere. I think I've said that before. We've lost all the hard bars. We've lost all the party bars, and I think it's the best thing in the entire world because it doesn't afford anybody the opportunity to go get. You get down there at 7:00. You're passing out. You're blacking out at 7:45. You're causing a fight at 8:15. Like that's not a thing anymore. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Reasonably.
Matt's like, I'm gonna go cause a fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say you still can, but
I don't have to be drunk to do that.
Yeah, there's a couple of places, but for you to go on a hard liquor bar crawl, you're walking quite a ways. Yeah, you're gonna be tired. You're gonna be too tired to fight. That's a good thing. So, what have you got coming up next? Because this is what the food trucks was obviously the big thing of the year. You got other stuff coming up. You're wearing that polar bear hoodie that I had from somewhere. I had the one that was like bluish, and it was the giant polar bear.
Oh wow!
And I don't remember what.
Very few of those made.
I don't remember what event that was from.
Hibernation.
That's it. That's it. My buddy was the bear this year. My buddy Derek was the bear with the photographer.
Oh yeah, we had the bear in the photo booth, so people could take pictures. Yeah. Yorktoberfest is our next event. It is October 14th at the fairgrounds. It is outdoors. Around the.
That seems like a rough.
It's usually not bad, although we've had a slightly cooler couple of weeks. But
we're gonna zero in like this. The commonality is like it's gonna get cold for the next few days. It's gonna rain, and then it's gonna be okay.
It'll be better than the year
just when you start to get used to pulling your pants out and pulling hoodies, and then all of a sudden one day, oh no, it's 80 degrees again.
I got my Christmas Union suit out of the closet to sleep in because I'm cold all the time now. But yeah, that is cool though. What is that up there at Memorial Hall or Agriculture?
It's outside around the track.
Ooh, that seems exciting. Is there are there a lot of microbreweries coming in? Tell me about it. Oh my God, plug the life out of it. I'm gonna post this on Wednesday to be polite to my earlier guest from today. So tell me all about Yorktoberfest.
There is beer. Yeah, that's it. No.
Matthew's really good at marketing. Why do you think I'm a part of that?
We'll have 24 breweries represented by themselves. I work really hard to build those relationships so that they're there. And then we'll have one of the distributors that comes out that will kind of represent maybe 5 or 6 more of theirs that they'll just have their pourings. That way we don't forget that they exist. And then we'll have 13 wineries. There's probably a distillery there. I don't even remember.
I believe Faber is coming, so you could probably screen print another shirt. If you'd like to.
There you go. That's really cool. I'm fascinated by screen printing. It's one of those things that I get into and I enjoy.
I have a screen printer if you want to buy it.
Do you? Is it a 4-color?
It is actually a 4-color.
Is it still in Jay's basement?
It is still in Jay's basement.
No, I do want it because I'm looking for one, and I don't want to make the high investment because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to buy it brand new because then I got to get it shipped, and it's going to cost me $3/4.
This one lives over on
Philly.
West Philly.
Yeah. Hey, you're on West Philly.
I know.
That's awesome. We'll talk about that off air. But yeah, Yorktoberfest, October 14th. What is that? 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon?
VIP starts at 12. Regular starts at 1, and it goes until 5 or 6.
It's really hard keeping track anymore when you do 7 events and you've been doing it for 10 years.
And I was going to say, I can't imagine the energy levels it takes to get through a day in your life because you guys are just busy planning stuff and keeping stuff moving and doing a lot.
Sometimes it gets hard to keep it straight. We'll talk about one thing and then I'm like, wait, what? And then we'd switch to like another conversation. Oh, yeah. We actually, Matthew, we give him a lot of crap for this, but the 3 of us have chats for each festival because it's easier to keep it straight. But he will be like, take it to the other chat, like if we start talking about it. But it definitely helps keep, like, when did we talk about? Okay, wait, it was about Yorktoberfest.
Yeah, see, trash in, trash out, man. You got to keep it pristine.
There you go. And that's awesome. So I was going to say, I might just come over and roam around. I have a new fascination with this because my I buy rechargeable batteries, and now I have a bunch of them, so I can just go. I could probably spend like a week just roaming around with my recorder.
if you'd like
being
to
weird.
come, we could set you up, and you could talk to our guests. And
That'd be super fun, actually. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this episode is brought to you by seething middle-aged hate and the hype that is York City. We're gonna make this a beautiful place, no matter how hard we try.
Oh yeah.
You know, everybody will. Everybody that makes the effort will definitely reap the rewards at some point. And if you have the chance, go be a big brother to some kids at Big Brothers Big Sisters, because they don't have any big brothers right now, and they really need them here in the York Adams area. So
Matthew, do you want to be a big brother?
I learned that the other day. You have the time for it? It's only once or twice a month. It's not bad.
I had looked into that, and the what was that house? The
Olivia's house.
Olivia,
house.
yeah, that's cool
Yeah.
too. That's all good stuff. So it's all out there. Dig around, ask questions,
Lots
find
of
the
people
answers.
need help.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.